Hello, welcome to Nana's Journey. Today we are on month 7 of the Summer Moon block of the month. It's by Carrie Nelson. And we are going to do the 4X's block on page 28, the log cabin on page 34, and the memory blocks on 38. And as you can see, I've made a couple fabric changes. For the X block, we're going to use our background 21. That's the one used for this month for all the blocks. And we're using 2, 8, and I switched out 11 for 10. So I'm using these 3 in the 4X's block. And these blocks get the 3 geese frame. For the log cabin block, you actually don't use any background. You use 4 fabrics. I'm using 1, 7, 11, and 13. And for the memory block, I'm using 3, 10, and instead of 12, I'm using 14. So those are the fabrics I'm using. Let me get them cut up and we will head on over to the sewing machine. Okay, here's the pieces we have for the 4X block, which is basically an Ohio star. So we've got our pieces we're going to turn into 2 half square triangles. You can just draw a line from corner to corner, sew on each side. I like to sew on the line, so I get a 1/2 inch ruler and mark each side and just sew on the lines. Then we will just cut down the middle, press it open, and trim it up. These pieces will get connected. You want right corner to right corner. And then also these pieces are going to get sewn along this line. And then we will turn them around and connect them together. So let's get that going. Okay, also anytime I make 2 HSTs at a time, I increase the size a little of what the pattern calls for so that I can trim it to size. I think I made these a little bit bigger too. I can't remember. Yeah, I made these a little bit bigger too. And there's plenty of trim space. Okay, I've lost a piece. Let me go look for it. Okay, we've got our piece. Okay, I had sewn a few of these in the wrong order, so it might help if you lay your squares, your triangles out like that to make the square. You want your yellow to be opposite, and you want to press towards the yellow. So then we just put them together and they should nest. So now we'll just get those trimmed and pressed open. Okay, this is how the block gets laid out. Make sure you got the print towards the outside corners and not in like that. And the red gets next to the center. So now we'll just put it together like we do the 9 patch. Okay, everything's going to get pressed away from the hourglass. Okay, and there we have our 4X block. And this is the medium, so it will get the medium frame. I will have a link to the video that tells you how to do the frames below in the description box. Also, if you want to learn more about the fabrics that I chose and the schedule, those will be on video, the first video, and there will be photos of the information at the end of the video. Okay, for the log cabin, they're going to have you work in quarters. So I've got my pieces lined up, and we're going to put these two together and press towards the center. Put this on and press out. Put this on and press in. Put this on and press out. Okay, now I'm going to press out, and then I'm going to trim it. Okay, and I would highly recommend trimming before you add the next round of strips. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put this one on, press towards the middle, put that one on, press towards the outside. Now that I've got that pressed, I'm going to want to trim it, and then I will be back when I have the rest of these done. Okay, once you have those put together, you just put the halves together, and then put the halves together in a hole. Then you just press one seam to the left and one to the right, nest them, and sew your seam. And there you go. There's your small log cabin block. This one will get the flying geese border. And let's move on. Okay, for the memory block, this one's got a lot of pieces. We've got our half square triangles. This is A and D. And then we've got C and E over here. These are all going to make a 4 square block. So we'll work on that first, but we've also got flying geese. We've got F and I together, and B and G together. And then that is our center. So let's work on these, and then we will work on the flying geese, and then we will put our block together. And this is the large one. Let me get those cut, pressed open, and trimmed, and I'll be right back. Okay, the half square triangles go opposite each other with the points kissing. And we've got the yellow and the pink. We're going to put these two together, and they get pressed towards the half square triangle. So that's a little different. Okay, the flying geese, you're just going to put a square at one end of the rectangle, and you are going to sew from corner to corner. You can draw a line and sew on the line. I'm going to use the sew line tape. I'll just put the needle in this corner and put this corner on the red line and sew there. Then you're going to fold that. Make sure that everything's covered. Trim it so there's a 1/4 inch seam. Press it down. And then you will do the same thing on the other side. Going from outside corner to the middle. Check it, trim it, press it, and you will have your flying geese. I'm going to get these others done and I'll be back. Okay, now that we have the flying geese done, we are going to put it together so that it makes a little arrow like that. And sew. And then we will trim these units before we continue. Okay, now that you've got your units all made, we're just going to put it together like a 9 block. You want to make sure your blue is next to the blue center and the pink is towards the center. Again, the middles will go to the inside and the top and the bottom will be pressed to the outside. And there is our memory block in the large size. So let me get these framed and then I will show them all to you. Okay, here we have them. The small, medium, and large of the 3 blocks, all framed and ready to go. Next month, month 8, will be the last of our blocks. And then month 9, we can put it together. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time on Nana's Journey.